Hey everybody, welcome back to HitPoint, a JRPG news show, an anime news show, a niche news show. Basically, anything that either Baku and I find interesting or unusual or exciting or imperative for the survival of humanity, we will talk about it today on HitPoint. And guys, we have quite the show lined up for you today. On today's episode of HitPoint, we will be previewing some trailers. We will be talking about rumors, some upcoming things in the business side of the industry, and we'll also talk about questions and comments from the super chats at the end of the episode. But we will stream this very highly important, very special episode of HitPoint on Sunday, every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Baku-san JRPG, how are you doing this evening?
Oh boy, I woke up late today and I wrote the docket really late and I felt really bad. Yeah, but we got it in and we're all good now. So
we're doing this.
That.
We're doing
this. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, it's I've got actually kind of a fun story for you. It is either going to be the best story that I've ever told on HitPoint or the dumbest one that I've ever told on HitPoint so far.
Why not both?
It might be both.
Okay.
So yesterday, Amy and I, we were out riding our bikes for the entire day, which,
okay.
I mean, so we came home and I was like, huh, our house is kind of warm. That's weird. Let me go check the AC. And the AC says that it's supposed to be like 72 degrees in here. But I mean, but it shows that it's actually like 77 in my house. I'm like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah, that's not good.
So I go outside and I check the compressor and it's not running and stuff. So I'm like, oh my God. No. So we have an issue here. Because it's the weekend. Not only is it the weekend, it is Labor Day weekend. So getting like an HVAC guy out here is like, I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna have to call emergency HVAC for like after hours on a holiday weekend. How many thousands of dollars is this going to cost me?
Oh, jeez.
So I'm like, I'm trying to figure stuff out. I reach out to my father-in-law. I'm like, cause he actually knows the house pretty well. And I was asking him about what should I do? What should I check? And he's like, oh, it could be, it's not running. There might not be any Freon left. I'm like, oh no, is there a crack in the compressor? Is that what's going on? So anyways, I'm like in, damage control mode. I'm like, how am I going to survive this financially? And so anyways, nobody could come out that night. And as Amy's like talking to them, I'm like, hang on a second. I'm tech support. I can tech support the crap out of this. So I'm like, I got exactly what I need. Okay. So I go down to the basement and I find the circuit breaker and I turned it off. And then I turned it back on. And it started working again. Yes!
Oh God.
Oh man. Oh, it was like the highlight of my entire career. Like, so if anybody has HVAC issues that they are struggling with, reach out to me. I got the skinny. I can tell you, I can fix you. Certified electrician. No, just kidding. Do not ask me. I got super lucky, and I think once the Labor Day weekend is finished, we're probably going to sign up for like one of those guys to come out and inspect things like twice a year and get on the get on one of those membership plans to make it not like absolutely impossible to get stuff fixed later on. But yeah, so anyways, that was my big highlight of the week. Oh yeah, and then after that we went out and had a birthday celebration with some friends. So man,
what a weekend.
I know, what a weekend. So yeah, wow. Like I said, either the best story of all time or the worst, dumbest story. But I'm still basking in the glory of that. I may have peaked in that moment.
Your tech support legend has peaked.
Exactly.
It's only downhill from here.
Any stories from your weekend so far here, Baku?
Oh, let's see. What did I do this weekend? What did I even do this weekend? I finished Persona 4 Golden. There's that.
Hey, that is peaking in a different sort, if I may say so.
Yeah,
This is
right?
a super good ending.
So there's this one dungeon, and I won't spoil it for folks who have never played it, but anyone who's played Persona 4 Golden knows there's this one dungeon that everyone hates in P4 Golden, and it's like the new dungeon that they've added in there. And
Oh, yeah.
remember how I was telling you that I was having computer issues,
Yeah.
where the computer would just like shut off or like things would just crash?
Yeah.
Well, I fixed that.
Was it a power supply?
It was power supply,
Ugh.
but it's just dirt.
Oh,
But
okay,
but
good.
yeah, but the crazy thing is, as I was cleaning out the computer, I didn't even see that much like dirt coming out, right?
Yeah.
Like I've seen way worse in my
Sure.
career in fixing computer. That was like nothing, but
Mhm.
it did the trick. So clearly that's the problem.
Okay. It's just a very susceptible power supply, I guess, huh?
I guess. Well, I think it's especially finicky because it's powering two systems at the same time. So that's
Yeah.
my thinking. So I'm probably gonna break away from a dual PC setup at least with a single power supply, but that's neither here nor there. So we finished Persona 4 Golden, but the thing is, when it was crashing, it kept crashing in that particular dungeon. So I had to run the worst dungeon in P4 Golden
Mm.
5 times before I could finish it. And
No.
all on Twitch. It was all on stream. Everyone watched me go through the thing, crash, try again next stream, crash, try again next stream, crash. But we finally finished it, and we finished the game like completely. It is done. And it was a great game. It is a good game. I enjoyed it despite it's not the game's fault that
Yeah.
my computer failed. So no, I take no points against the game. The game is great. I would recommend anyone playing who has not played P4 Golden to give it a shot. I'm not even a big Persona fan, but I really enjoyed it. So.
It's often considered one of the greatest of all time, and rightly so.
And I see why. And also, I got this. So I wanted to show it to you earlier, but I showed it to my stream.
That is
this is a
gorgeous.
Ducky 1.3 SF. It's a 65% keyboard, and it types like a dream. It's got the Year of Tiger space bar. So I've waited for 5 years for this keyboard.
Wow.
Right? Because every single year they'll come up with like a new design, right? And this year, of course, is the Year of Tiger. You should know this, right? And actually, are you the Year of Tiger? You are.
I
right?
am.
Yeah. So I had
we were born like a month apart.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I knew we were born like our birthdays were close, but I forgot if we're the same year. We're the same year. Okay, so yeah, I've been watching the Ducky keyboard for a while, and I've just been waiting for them to release the Tiger edition, and here we are. So I grabbed the white one. It's like White Tiger. Yeah, that sounds about right. So
awesome.
This thing is just sick. It looks beautiful. It types great. I highly recommend it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's my weekend.
That's super cool. So one of the other cool things that happened this week is I actually returned to Twitch after a bit of an extended hiatus, and I'm very excited to be playing more Golden Sun: The Lost Age. I'm actually taking off on Monday, not because of Labor Day, but because I'm going to be doing a D&D fireside session with my DM and crew. So I'm very excited about that. But I guess kind of in a roundabout way because of Labor Day. But otherwise. Yeah, we'll be back at it on Wednesday, so if you're interested in hanging out, make sure you check us out over there. Links are in the description. Yeah, so with all of that out of the way, how about we give the people a little teaser about what today's leading headline is, Baku?
Let's see. There's so many.
I know.
A highly anticipated RPG is finally making a move to the west, so you can see from the thumbnail, and there is some news about a certain publisher sending a cease and desist letter that has the community not very happy right now, but we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, it's actually going to be more than a minute because community news is towards the end of the episode. You'll have to wait for a while, but we will talk about it now. And for the record, I have reached out to an NISA for a comment, and I haven't heard back yet. But it's maybe if we delay long enough, maybe they'll get back to us with a statement. That'd be interesting.
It's a figurative minute.
So, all right. Let's go ahead and start with some comments from last week's podcast, starting with this from Duk Nguyen, who says,
Wow, that was actually pretty good pronounced. Whoa, hold on. Time out. Derek, when were you studying Vietnamese? What happened? Wait, what?
I hope I was just winging it. I hope I said that right. I remember. So I did look up some. I try not to butcher people's names, but anyways, they said, is it me or is Baku-san sounding significantly lower in volume? Well, I don't think it was just you. Now, I did fix all of the audio issues in post, which is one reason that you guys might want to consider if the audio is ever just like unbearably bad some episode. I really hope it isn't. I think we have it nailed down today and here henceforth. But otherwise, check out the audio version of the podcast. I fix a lot of stuff in post. I wish I could fix it all in live, but anyways, check it out there. If last episode was just too jarring when we would switch between, but I think we have it nailed down today. Thumbs up in the chat if we're sounding perfect. It looks like so far looking good.
So, Scott saying the audio is perfect today. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. All right. So
yeah.
What you got here there, Baku?
Oh, right. So I surveyed a couple of comments from folks talking about Fantasia and Penny Blood, and here's what y'all have to say. Starting from American Dragon 98, Penny Blood is definitely the most I've ever anticipated a game. Shadow Hearts 1 and 2 are among my top 10 all-time favorite games, so I'm incredibly excited.
Ooh, that's awesome. That's some high praises.
Right?
Yeah. Micaiah, the Otaku Gamer, says, I know I'm supposed to be hyping responsibly, but I can't help myself. I flipped out when I found out about Armed Fantasia. I'm so excited that the original creative teams behind both Wild Arms and Shadow Hearts are getting to continue making the game that they love making.
Yeah. And then we've got one more from Stefano Black, who said, it's incredible that two of my most beloved RPGs are going to have spiritual successors after so many years. Let's be honest. We all thought they were dead and gone. I'm very excited for them. Both Wild Arms and Shadow Hearts had such unique settings. I hope they bring back the vibe with new characters, stories, and mechanics. Praise the sun. And he got the bonsai. That was the emoji. I acted it out.
Well done.
Yeah. Thank you.
So did you want to?
So like, look, listen, I'm just super happy to see like the sheer enthusiasm from the JRPG community on the Kickstarter, which we will take a look at later on in the show with a new game trailer. So yeah, just hype responsibly, but also, hype it up.
I was gonna say in regards to at least the guy behind Shadow Hearts. I can't remember his name. I'm so bad at that. But anyways, at least we know that he's not like, this isn't his first rodeo when it comes to spiritual successors. The first one that he did was Kodelka, and then its spiritual successor was the Shadow Hearts series. So so I mean, it's kind of like, in a way, the spiritual successors of like Xenosaga or Xenogears to Xenosaga to now Xenoblade. Well, now this guy is getting his own spiritual successor of a spiritual successor, right? So
that is actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
that is actually pretty cool. Yeah, and I didn't even think about that way, but you know what? You're right. Yeah,
there are some parallels. Now we also have some voicemail, or well, I've got a couple of voicemails, but tonight we're going to play one of them here. And if you have any voicemail that you would like to leave us, you may do so at 785-337-3805. And here is the voicemail that we have today.
Derek, Baku, my guys. It's Tarvel here. Wanted to ask you guys an interesting RPG-related question. Okay, so Final Fantasy VII Remake is obviously known for modernizing the classic original from the blocky PS1 infancy era to the current day standards. My question to you guys is, would you ever want a sequel to a traditionally modern 3D RPG done in the Demake's 2D HD style, a la Octopath Traveler or Live Alive, in sort of the opposite spin of FF7 Remake? Love the cast, guys. Keep it up. Tarvold out. Thanks.
Thank you, Tarvold.
Thank you.
All right. So question was, could you hear the question okay there, Baku?
I did. I'm thinking about it in my mind. Yeah.
All right. So I'll go ahead and take over for the start while you can think about this, because I had a little bit of a head start on this one. So so I was thinking about this too. And now he did say traditionally 3D, but I feel like one of the first things that came to mind is a lot of the games that didn't survive the jump from 2D to 3D that could maybe find a newfound life in a HD 2D sort of setting. And so the first ones that came to my mind were probably the Mana series, like Dawn of Mana didn't do so hot, right? I mean, it wasn't traditionally 3D at first, right? But Dawn of Mana was kind of meh. They did I think make the best 3D Mana title pretty recently, Trials of Mana Remake, which
that
was,
game was beautiful.
So that kind of weakens this as a candidate, because if they could continue making games like that, they should. But then the next one that came to mind was another game that failed in the jump to 3D was Breath of Fire, I think. Now, granted, there are some people who think and wholeheartedly believe, and more power to them, that Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter was awesome, and I am excited for those people to have that game. But I think that that Breath of Fire, I think if they were to make another one, I would personally prefer an HD 2D. I would prefer they go back to the 2D aesthetic. And also another game series that kind of failed was the Soul Blazer series. You had Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, Terra Enigma, but then they went to the Grand Stream Saga and things got not so great. So I would love so much to see them do an HD 2D of that, and maybe even Ganbare Goemon. I mean, and that's not to say that Ganbare Goemon failed in the jump to 3D, but because I mean, Mystical Ninja starring Goemon was phenomenal.
In the 2D era,
yeah. No. I mean, even on Nintendo 64, they were fantastic, and I think the PS1 might have even had a 3D one in Japan, but I think a Goemon like HD 2D. But to more directly answer the question that about like a traditional 3D RPG that might be well suited for a HD 2D, there were three that came to mind that I thought would be pretty solid. The first, and I don't know if I think this qualifies, Persona 3, I think could be done really nicely as an HD 2D in the style of maybe Persona 2 or maybe Persona 1. That would probably be pretty rad to, and I feel kind of bad throwing that out there because I feel like Persona 3, one of the main reasons that I love it on PS2 as opposed to PSP is because you get to explore Japan at least a little bit in a 3D environment, right? But P3P became more of like a point and click adventure. So it's like But if they have to remake P3P anyway, if they had to because it's to make it a definitive way to play it, like they may as well try, I don't know, maybe an HD 2D. The others, Yakuza Like a Dragon. Could you imagine? Could you imagine a Yakuza Like a Dragon done in HD 2D?
Oh, geez, yeah.
It would totally fit with the whole theme of like a retro style JRPG, right? It would, But I wonder if it would lose. Fun. I wonder if it would lose some of its charm though, and it's like, because part of it is that it's also super realistic, right? And I think that's pretty cool. But okay, well, anyways, and then finally maybe Paper Mario.
Paper Mario.
Yeah, maybe.
Isn't it already kind of 2D?
No, it's on a 3D plane. I mean, they wouldn't really have to change too much with the switch to HD 2D. It would basically just be Paper Mario, but with like pixels.
Isn't that just Mario at that point? It's like, wait a minute.
Maybe. I was just trying to come up with some that I thought might lend themselves well to that sort of look. But what do you think, Baku, now that I've given you some time to think?
Funny that you talked about Persona, because remember some time ago we looked at a fan-made Persona 4 Golden Demake that turned it into a 2D. So that
Game Boy,
pretty good. Yeah, so I definitely lends lends itself to what you were saying about Persona. So, a Persona Demake would actually be pretty interesting. I recently saw something that someone posted up, and it's another fan video, not an actual game, but kind of a proof of concept, if you will, for a demake of Genshin Impact. That was interesting, and where they turned the characters into like a kind of like a D-pad kind of grid formation to that sort of reminiscent of Valkyrie profile. You know what I'm saying? Like the character stands in like a diamond shape, and then like you press button and they just do attacks.
Kind of that isometric view. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. So, but what game I think would be nice if I can get like a 2D version? Personally, Saga Frontier. I didn't like the 3D, but Romancing Saga 3 was amazing. So if they could turn Saga Frontier into an HD 2D, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. They won't, but I would buy it in a heartbeat.
How about a Neptunia game?
Neptunia game into HD 2D would be nice. That would be interesting. Yeah. I think they have tried to release like a 2D game, and I think that's what like the Super Neptunia RPG. Yeah, that didn't sell too well, but that was like a spin-off. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think another one that might be really fun would be Atelier series, because all of them are now 3D, of course, for many years, and they look gorgeous. But if we have a 2D version of that game, that would be fun. Speaking of Yakuza, though, they didn't do a 2D like full-on game, but they did do a 2D like a small free platformer game. I think they did it. It's just for lols, like, and you can actually find it on Steam, I think. So you can get that where you play as Kiryu, and it's just like a really short platformer game, just for lols. From the developers.
Awesome.
So you can kind of see what the 2D would look like from there. So yeah, those are a couple that I can think of.
Now this is something that's sort of like tangentially related, but it's not really. But it made me think of this, and did you know that there's an Onimusha tactical RPG?
Yes.
And doesn't it like, so when I think of like Onimusha, it's like PS2 style graphics, but the tactical RPG is on DS, I think. Or was it GBA?
I think it was DS.
Anyways, it's got like an isometric view, and it's pixel art, and it looks incredible. And that's what also made me think about it, is that it's
Valkyrie
just
Profile, same thing.
Thing. Yeah.
I mean that like 3D, and then they have the isometric kind of tactic RPG on a handheld. Yeah, so it's a similar situation. Yeah, also looked really good for me. It didn't sell too well, but I don't think it was because, it was like a bad format. It was just for other reasons, right?
Yeah. Oh, you know what would also be kind of interesting? It's not an RPG per se, but maybe a new Zelda title in HD 2D would be kind of neat.
Yeah, I think they have been releasing some 2D titles.
I mean, I think the last one was The Link Between Worlds, wasn't it? And that was.
I think so.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I don't really follow Zelda as much as I should. One of my friends, like, he's a huge Zelda fan. Anytime her birthday comes up, I'm like, okay, what kind of Zelda stuff do you not have yet? Let me just stop by your place real quick and just like check around. Like, okay, I don't think you have this. So they have this like Zelda guidebook, right? And it comes in like 3 volume. It's like red, blue, and green. Right. And I that spared me for 3 years of not having to think of what to buy her. I'm like, stop it. I'm just going to buy you one of these every year. And I did. I look back at my Amazon history. I'm like, okay, which one did I not get? Okay, buy this.
Solid choice.
Yes. So that saved me 3 years of thinking what to get someone. So that was great. But yeah. All right, so thank you again for that voicemail there, Trevor, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Starvold. And if you have a voicemail you would like to leave us again, you can reach us at 785-337-3805, and we'll talk about it. Otherwise, if you're international and don't want to face the charges, you can also just send us a voicemail file to HitPoint at SuperDerekRPGs.com, and we can also play that on the air. Also, if you have any burning questions that you just can't wait for a voicemail, you can also leave us a super chat and we'll respond to that at the end of the episode. All right.
Yes.
So, with all of that out of the way, let's talk about some upcoming releases.
Yeah, let's go. Oh, right. So the first thing we got is something called Onsen Master. From Waking Oni Games comes a new game called Onsen Master, where you play as a character named Mu, who is an apprentice to the great Onsen Master. As Mu, you are tasked to stop the yokai from disrupting the operation of the onsen at Izajima. So we have a small little trailer that we can take a look at it. I think this is a really fun, very charming little game. So let's take a look.
You betcha. Oh, there we go.
So like, you're supposed to run around and like sort of tend to the customers and clean up and do a bunch of things. I think it's a little similar to oh, what's that one game?
Overcooked?
What's that party game? Like Overcooked.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
That's what it initially
things
looked
gets
like
hectic.
to me. It looks really like a lot, yeah. It also, at first I had like a little bit of deja vu here. Like, is like, oh, was this that RPG where like it was inspired by Spirited Away? No, it's not. But very similar influences apparently, because there's definitely some monster-looking stuff going on here.
You can challenge the onsen boss. So I think they definitely got some inspiration from what is it called? Spirited Away. Ghibli movie. They definitely got some inspiration there, but also you can see like there's definitely like they're taking their own spin on a lot of things. So the game will feature 6 stages of story mode and also co-op function and local PvP. I don't know what local PvP means, but from what I've seen so far in the game, it looks like a really fun little title just to play with your friends. So yeah, if you guys are looking for like just small party game like flavor of the week kind of thing to play with your friends, like this might be something that you might be interested in. So this game is actually already out. It just caught my attention recently after the release. So yes, I know this is supposed to be upcoming releases, but except for this one actually came out on September 1st on Xbox Series X, Switch, and on today, like right now, it is available on PC via Steam.
Nice. All right, so we also have the newest entry in the class of hero games, which is called Adventure Academia: The Fractured Continent, and it is coming to the West as Adventure Academia. Moving away from the traditional dungeon crawl turn-based RPG, this new game will feature more of like a pinch, drag, and drop system that allows you to move units in real-time battles. So I think don't have a new trailer for that, so we're gonna skip showing that, but that's all right because it's coming out officially on the 7th of this month here. We're just a few days away. It's coming to PC via Steam, and English support will come sometime in the future. So might be around November, according to the British retailer Funstock.
Yeah, so I should elaborate on that a little bit. So they never said when the English support will come, but when you go to the PQube, the publisher PQube website, and you select platform, the game is also coming out on PS4 and the Switch. So when you select those and you go to Funstock, which is like a UK-based retailer, it says expected November shipment.
Okay.
So that's where I'm getting that from. But officially, they haven't given like an exact date of when that's coming out. So here's how it is, right? The game is coming out on the 7th. It's going to be in Japanese initially. English support will come later, along with the international version of PS4 and Switch.
Okay.
Probably in November. So we'll keep you guys up to date for that one.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
I know it's just a weird.
That's a weird way to do things for sure.
Yes, I know it's confusing, but I'm trying my best to like give you guys the accurate information. You know? Like,
yeah. If you can't speak Japanese, maybe hold out for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm actually super excited for this game for the same reason that I'm excited for games like Cult of Lamb and other games where you can kind of play on stream and, like add your viewers in as party members, and you can like just kind of like have some fun with that.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be another great game to do something like that with your viewers. So if you're a streamer, you like RPG, and like especially because RPG is so like such like a solo experience, right? Yeah, I mean, sure, you can name some of your party members, but it's like super limited, right? Like you get like maybe 4 or 5. Most modern RPG, you can't even name your party members, right? So
that's true.
Yeah, so you can't even be like, oh, hi there, Mr. Inval, I'm gonna make you one of the characters. Like you can't even do that anymore. So, but this game, you make your own characters. You can select their characteristics, what have you. The Darkest Dungeon, there you go. Oh, is it the Darkest Dungeon? Is that the other one? Kind of like a roguelike where you can create new characters and then they die or whatever.
No idea.
Or like Pokemon, right? Like you catch a Pokemon, you like name Pokemon after your viewers. It's fun, right? But this is like kind of something similar to that. So I'm actually really excited. Plus, I'm a big fan of the classic Heroes games anyway. So despite not liking dungeon crawlers. All right. So we've got another game that's coming out soon. It's called White Day. Labyrinth Night School, the Korean horror classic, is coming out and being re-released on PS4 and Steam, and that's going to be on September 8th. So if you guys been waiting for that game, yeah, go pick that up. I'm going to be playing that sometime in October, I think.
Awesome. All right, and then finally we have Jack Move.
You would pick this to talk about, huh, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of it came up that way. We're alternating
Sure it did.
So, anyways,
okay.
A couple weeks ago, we took a look at the animated trailer for the game, and it is that cyberpunk-themed pixel art-based, turn-based RPG from the developer So Romantic, and it is finally coming out on the 8th of this month on Steam and PS4 and the Nintendo Switch. And I guess it's also coming to Xbox for anyone who cares. Now, it's... oh, yeah, but the Switch version isn't coming out until the 20th. So if you want the Switch version, if you want to play mobile portably, you got to wait until the 20th. So,
sorry, that sentence was confusing. That was my fault. Let me do this because this is my fault. I wrote it weird. Okay. The game is coming out on Steam on the 8th. PS4, Xbox One, and Switch version will follow on the 20th. Okay, so there you go. Okay, back to you, Derek.
Got you. Okay, so disregard everything I just said.
That was my fault, yes.
Just pretend I said what Baku said. So if you want a sneak peek, the ICE Breaker demo is also currently available on Steam right now. So maybe check that out.
Yeah. It looks really good. That's one of the games that like Derek got like super excited over.
Now I assume that the ICE that's with an acronym, so that's probably like in case of emergency. So the icebreaker.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think of that. I was like, it's icebreaker, so it's like a play on word, but I didn't think what the ICE stood for. I figured it stood for something, but in case of emergency. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, so now it is time for us to take a look at some games that were recently announced.
Yes. Okay, so we've got a game called River City Girls Zero. Yes. So this is actually an enhanced port of the 1994 Super Nintendo game called Shin Nekatsu Koka Kunio Tachi no Banka, which is really just River City.
Okay.
Yay, so all that. But it's coming on PS4, 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC via Steam on September 22nd. We do have a Japanese trailers that we can take a look at. So let's take a look at that and see what this is about.
Yeah, that's interesting. So this is an enhanced port of the 94 SNES game. Okay.
Yes.
What's going on here? Let's find out.
Kind of a remaster.
Gotta love that classic. Gotta love that classic anime aesthetic.
I like the song.
I know.
Was this a new game? Sorta yes and no.
Kind of, but not.
That answered our question. Okay, well there you go. That's what you mean by an enhanced port.
So are these the two dudes behind River City Ransom?
Yeah.
I think. And now this is their girlfriends coming to save them. Oh.
You gotta pick from 4 characters.
Yeah. Oh, so that looks a bit more like Double Dragon-y.
Yeah, see?
I was kind of hoping / thinking it was maybe going to be more like the original Kunio-kun style.
There are more than 20 kinds of super moves, it says.
Oh.
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 That shit looks kind of fun. Not gonna lie.
It really does. So
You can ride a roller coaster.
So this is definitely very Super Nintendo-y. I wonder what the enhanced bit of this enhanced port is.
Yeah, I don't know what the enhanced part is. Maybe it's just like HD.
Maybe it's the background.
I don't know. Maybe like videos.
I mean, or maybe it's just the intro scene.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a lot of. It could be like just different things. They definitely kept the look and the resolution though, so
For sure.
for people who don't like that like HD resolution and just really like the 4x3, I mean, there it is. That's it looks like the game is going to be played in 4x3. So
Interesting.
yeah. So the game is actually immediately available on the Switch in the West. Yes.
In the West?
They
Okay.
yeah. And it's coming to PS4, 5, Xbox, and whatnot on the 22nd. So there
Wow,
you go.
okay.
Yeah. So
I was
and
gonna
the reason why
okay,
reason
yeah.
why it's immediately available is because it was ran through I think limited
Limited run?
limited run games, or
Was that right?
I think so. Yeah. So there's like a hard version that's immediately available.
Okay.
But it was not available for some reason on the Nintendo Store like until now with this announcement. So it is immediately available on the Switch. It is coming to PS4, 5, Xbox, and PC. So
Nice.
yes.
I love having more beat 'em ups available, and I
Yeah.
feel like maybe on the heels of the new Ninja Turtle collection and Shredder's Revenge, like
Mhm.
if you are feeling that beat 'em up bug, then this might be a perfect addition to that yeah, to your collection, I guess, if you will.
Yes.
So moving along, we have another game that was announced, and it is called Azure Striker Gunvolt 3. So second Azure Striker Gunvolt 3 DLC pack is now available, which adds the EX image pulses. So it's not a new game. It's a new pack. My bad. That adds the EX image pulses, Elise and Azrock from the first 2 Gunvolt games. The DLC is free until the 15th. So the game is currently available on Nintendo Switch and will release on PS4 with a free upgrade option to PS5 on the 15th of December.
And that's why I added it here.
Okay.
Because yeah,
So that's the announcement, is that it's coming
Yes.
to okay.
It's just like a whole bunch of things like all packed in. Like
But
there's
it's
the DLC and
super cool that the new game,
Yeah.
the new DLC is like that's awesome that it's free.
Yeah.
for now.
Until a certain time.
For
yeah.
now, yeah.
For
so
now, yeah.
I guess it's kind of like I feel like that's really nice. They should do that more often,
All right.
where
like
they reward people who already own the game
mhm.
for supporting it early on with some free DLC, and then when people buy secondhand down the line, they
Mhm.
can pay for the DLC, and that way they still get a little bit of a cut of that action later on.
Yeah, time limited DLC, I think is a pretty good idea because it also incentivizes you to maybe don't wait to buy the game. So
Mhm.
it kind of like increases the install base a little bit, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, a lot of times there are good games that just don't get a good head roll, and then people just don't talk about it because that there are just not enough people playing the game. I think this is actually a really good way,
Yeah.
right?
Now-
It's like, people love limited time goods anyways.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah.
everybody loves free stuff, right?
And everyone loves free stuff.
So all versions will receive the Epilogue Items update also on the 15th of December this year for a free story update set after the game's main campaign, starring a new playable character named Zed Omega.
Yes.
English voices and PC release is still slated for sometime in the future. Sometime.
No exact dates yet. Yeah,
we don't know if it's part of the 15th of December or if it's further on yet. We don't know, but it's supposed to be coming at some point.
Yeah,
so
it's coming. It's just we don't know yet.
Soon.
It has not been announced.
Soon,
but as soon as it's announced, we'll let you all know.
You betcha.
Yeah. All right. We got another platformer game from developer Quattro Gear and publisher Crest. It is a new gothic action adventure platformer where you play as Ligeia, a witch who has been forcibly reincarnated into the body of Madeline, a descendant of the House of Usher. No idea what any of those means, but that came from the page, so I'm just giving it to you. Let's take a look at the trailer so we know what we're talking about.
Okay, because I have no idea what you're talking about. Music is catchy.
Dropping that bass, man. Crest.
Something is afoot in the House of Usher. All right.
All right. Wow, that music.
Not bad.
Not bad. It definitely has. Okay, so I want to say this before you get to comment on it. It does have that paper doll look, absolutely. Yeah. But in this particular case, because the way that the background and everything looks like an art book, I almost feel like it added to it. Because now it's like they are actual like paper crafted things moving in this world, and it almost made sense in that way.
I didn't actually notice that so much.
Really?
I mean, should we watch it again?
That's usually the first thing you comment.
No. I noticed the paper doll aesthetic. I didn't notice the background so much.
Oh yeah. Take a look.
Yeah, maybe
just. You don't have to watch the whole thing. Maybe just. But we can skip around
for sure.
Yeah.
Here, I'll turn that down a tad bit here. Blah blah blah. Yeah, here, let's put it full screen. Okay, so yeah, I kind of see that a little bit there, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like an art book.
Yeah. Okay. You know, when you point it out that way, it does make more sense visually. So I won't. Okay, you have successfully warded off a fourth that was an incoming attack.
I knew it.
On the game's visual fidelity, but you know what? That's all right. I forgive you for thwarting my ferocity already, but you know, that's fine. Whatever. I'll find something else to cast my hate upon later.
It looked pretty good with everything else. So this game is actually also coming out towards the end of the month on September 27th on PS4, Switch, and PC via Steam.
Awesome. All right. Well, then moving along, this is something that I'm particularly excited for. Because I was so excited that I even played it before I could even officially play the demo. We're talking about Trinity Trigger. So this is that 90s nostalgic isometric action RPG made by a team of notable industry veterans that has been finally announced as coming to the West.
Yes.
From C&D'd Games and Marvelous Europe, we'll be publishing the games in North America and Europe, respectively. You want to take a look at this English trailer, Baku?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I wonder what they sound like in English. There's no voice acting, by the way.
Oh.
Huh?
There you go. That was the voice acting.
That exclamation still sounded Japanese. Yes.
There might not be any English voice acting, honestly.
I mean, if they do later on, it might be in the form of like attack names and stuff that they shout out, but
yeah.
Oh.
Triggers.
Oh, that's right. There was some voice acting in the form of the triggers talking, I think, at the beginning of the demo, at least. Maybe. It's been a minute since.
Still looks good.
This was announced back in May.
It's
so
been a while.
It's been a minute since I played the game's demo, but so I really enjoyed the demo, and so I think that there's a lot of potential in it.
Yeah.
Given that, I mean, and you played a little bit of it too.
Yeah, I did.
You played the entire demo, same as I did, right?
I played the entire demo, yeah.
But you didn't use Google Translate.
No, I did not. I am Google Translate.
Oh man. But yeah, it looks like from this trailer, it's showing that they do get a bit more cinematic with some of the cutscenes and stuff, and I'm looking forward to that. I feel like that was maybe one of the things that that wasn't quite present, was like that I don't even know what to call it exactly. That a certain level of like polish that just wasn't there in the demo, but that was, several months ago. Right? Yeah. So anyways, this is coming out on the 15th in Japan.
Yes.
For us low life English speakers, it'll be sometime in early 2023 for a release window of the West. But it will be coming to PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch.
That's right.
No word on a PC or Xbox release though.
Yeah. So, for this game, speaking of the demo, because we kept talking about the demo, we had certain things that we talked about. We have certain complaints. My big complaint was the NPC just wouldn't stop dying, and it got to the point where it was just like, I'm just not going to revive you guys. Like, you just, every time I revive you, you just died in like 2 seconds. Like, you know what? I'm just not going to revive, because they keep getting hit, even though this is like giant red circles. Like, okay, maybe get away from there. Like, I don't know. Maybe don't stand. Okay, they die. And I was getting really frustrated. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to solo this boss, right? And the boss is very soloable, if you will. So that was my big gripe, is that. And I'm just like, this is just one boss. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with all these other boss. Like, you mean to tell me that I'm just going to have to keep soloing people? Because if you died like this in this first boss, I have no faith in you surviving anything else.
Yeah. So essentially, your main gripe with it was that the NPCs didn't avoid the big red areas the way that I would when like a boss was going to do a big attack or something. Hopefully that was something that they could also focus on.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? A big part of that game is you get to switch between characters. Like, well, if they're dead, you can't switch into them. So it directly impacts your gameplay, right? It's like, I can't switch into them if they're dead, but they should take some damage. It's like, I don't know. It's not balanced, if you will, right? So that, and among other things that the community have come together, they have actually made a good amount of changes, they said, that will be available for the actual release of the game. So good on them for taking on the releasing the demo and getting feedback and making a better product.
That's so the way it ought to be.
We'll see what that looks like. Yeah.
I mean, the demo should get people excited for the game, but it should also tell the devs like, hey, here's a little what you need to do to get things going really nice.
Yeah,
So
it's like free QA. I mean, come on, like
exactly,
take advantage of us. Like
exactly.
we're happy to tell you, like, if there you read the review and you tell us if it makes sense, right? But we're happy to give you a peace of mind as
For
fans.
sure.
So yeah. All right. Did you want to switch it up so that I'll take on the next one, and then you can cover
sure.
I think the next one's a little complicated.
Okay,
So
sure.
yeah,
I'd be happy to
let's
talk
switch it up,
about this one.
up.
So,
Yeah.
Voice of Cards, Beasts of Burden. The third game to the Voice of Cards series, called the Beasts of Burden, has been announced. For the uninitiated, the game is directed by the Nier creator Yoko Taro and features music by Keiichi Okabe.
Well, the music in here is just incredible. I haven't played a game, but I listened to some of the music. Oh my god, love it.
All right, we have a teaser trailer, and we're gonna take a quick little gander at it.
There are creatures known as monsters.
Creatures known as monsters. Didn't know.
Conflict with these beasts.
All right, you have me so far. This jives with my understanding of Japanese RPGs. Girl who lost her home joins hands with a mysterious boy. Hopefully it wasn't Edward Scissorhands. That would be bad. And sets out into the unknown. So, yep, that's a very card-based looking game.
Yeah. Wait, you don't remember the ones that we've seen before? This is the third
I remember.
game.
I remember.
Yeah.
And I still don't. It's still not for me. But for, hey, if I was like a huge fan of Yoko Taro, because I haven't played any of. I played Drakengard 1. I haven't played any Nier yet.
I think this is not necessarily for Yoko Taro fan, but for fans who are like big on like tabletop games, who just likes that kind of aesthetics too, and don't want all the other like, some people, I think it's the same kind of mentality of like wanting to demake games or wanting. Yeah, like I just don't want all these flair. I just want you to give me like the bare bone experience of the story and the RPG aspect. No crazy animations, no flashy character design.
I guess when you put it that way, this is like a card-based game really is kind of the ultimate demake. A lot of video games that go through, before you even start making a video game, a lot of times, this is something that I actually learned a little bit when I was in video game development school, a skill I don't actually have. Is that before you develop an actual game, a lot of times you'll go through some prototyping phase, right? And a lot of times for RPGs and for games of that ilk, there are these sorts of card-based sort of things or dice-based or pen and paper versions of the prototypes to like before you even start developing it, to help balance like what are some ideas, what does this bring to the table, and so it's kind of interesting that in a way this is like the ultimate sort of meta demake of a lot of RPGs, and a lot of RPGs probably started out their lives as card-based games or dice-based games and things of that nature. So super interesting just the same. And since you mentioned it's kind of like a demake, I was like, yeah, it finally clicked for me.
No, that's kind of what I thought. And now it's also not for me necessarily. I don't really care for it. There aren't a whole lot of voice acting either. It's just the announcer guy. That was it. Like no. So it's about as bare bone as it gets, but not bare bone in a sense of like not having great story. So according to the people who've played it and I've talked to, they said the story is phenomenal, and just has a lot to offer. So now this is the third game, which is pumping out really fast. Like it wasn't even that long ago that we talked about the second game. Now the third game came.
I guess
crazy.
They're really easy to put together. When you don't have to do all of that extra stuff. So you can expect
there's an advantage in that.
You can expect to see this within a couple of weeks, actually. On the 13th of this month, they'll be releasing it on PS4 and the Switch and PC via Steam. And the digital deluxe edition will include DLC items based on Nier Reincarnation.
Yes.
Additionally, players who purchased the game before the 3rd of October will also get the Iron Avatar and the Somber Girls Abstract Pattern DLC for more cosmetic goodness.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. This is the one that I was going to talk about, but you're like, step aside. I got this.
That, or because it's just kind of confusing. So, yeah. So let's. I need to slow down on this one. So this next game here is called Your Turn to Die. Developer Zero Up Games announced that they will finally release this officially translated version of this Danganronpa style multi-ending horror adventure game on Steam. So this game started its life as a freeware game. Okay, so in fact, you can still download the game right now in Japanese for free right now. But they're releasing it officially translated onto Steam now. Now, this game follows a character named Sarah Chidoin, who finds herself and her friend Joe trapped in a death game with several others. They're forced to solve puzzles and vote on each other's lives, very similar to Danganronpa. So any fan of like Danganronpa games, Zero Escape, I think it's like a very similar, or like Yuru-Kill, which recently released, would find this kind of premise pretty similar. Now, this game is definitely on like a low budget side. I think it's probably like a sole developer, but it's got just like raving reviews from all these people who have played it and tried it, right? So much so that it's even caught my radar, which is rare because I'm not really into these like death trial kind of games. But I know a lot of you guys
I don't even have a radar.
Yeah, I don't. I don't really care for it. But it's more like my Weep radar that picked it up. Like, what are people like raving about in Japan? So this is coming now. So in fact, it's so low budget, okay, that they don't even have an official trailer. But a fan made a trailer for them.
Oh, that's nice.
So we're gonna watch that trailer right now, okay? Just for the same reason of giving you guys an idea what the game looks like. So check it out.
Probably a good idea that you took the wheel on this one.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, let me talk about this one. It's complicated.
I mean, I have a Weeb radar. It's just you know, not so great. All right, there's some Japanese text.
No, that's just the
That's
title.
a head, I think.
That is the head.
There's a couple of heads actually. Okay.
Yeah, the art's more on the low budget side, but again, this is a freeware game.
Sure.
Like, so it's definitely not a high profile,
I'm actually
high budget. Yeah.
I mean, for a fan made demo or a trailer,
this is really good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Can
you
I
go to the
say
Steam page, there's like
sounds
no demo.
sounds kind of Persona 3 inspired OST.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if
think
that's
they
part of
should-
the trailer or not, or if that's like part of the game, but
I don't know, but I found it and I thought it looked really good. So I was just like, you know what? In lieu of having an official trailer, I'm just gonna show this, just so you guys can get an idea what the game looks like. And you know,
yeah,
it looked as good as any official trailer.
it
It
does.
looked really good.
And-
So I was just like, okay. I'm
And
gonna
part
use
of me
this.
is like, oh, this is unofficial. This might be copyrighted music, actually. So
Oh,
like,
no.
maybe I should turn that down a little bit just in case.
Let's keep talking and talk over this. Yeah,
For sure.
So, what music are we talking about? I had no idea what you're talking about.
Oh no, there's no more
what-
music.
what? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool.
M-
So
maybe fair use. I don't know. It's like
I mean, maybe. So, anyways,
yeah.
that's pretty interesting. So that was made by It's Kerbex.
Yes. So credit to it's Kerbex for this trailer. So
Yeah.
there is an unofficial translation from VG Person that is already available. So you could just download the game and apply the patch and just play it like today.
Mhm.
But of course, our official stance is support the developer. So
Sure.
if they're going to release this official translation, and in fact, the VG person, who's actually a really famous like fan translator for a lot of these freeware games, actually, also came out to really support this like official release. So happy to see that we'll kind of see eye to eye in what we should be doing with this. It will come out in a few months, so no exact dates yet, but that's just been announced, so I'm just letting all of you guys know.
All right. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and move along to the next bit here, which I tried to hand this one to you, but I guess you're just not a fan and didn't want to talk about it, and you're like, I don't know.
I can still do it. I can still do it. I
got this.
You got this? Okay.
So last week we took a look at Armed Fantasia and Penny Blood double Kickstarter campaign, and wouldn't you know it, it's funded in less than a single day.
Are you right? Well, to be fair, I think their goal was pretty modest. It was like 750,000.
Yeah,
right, for 2 games.
I've seen larger Kickstarter goals for like indie developers. So
right,
so yeah. And I mean, the thing is, like, these goals clearly weren't like meant to fund the entire development of like AAA video games.
Yeah.
Probably not even something of the style that we even saw. Really, this is really more of like acquisition bait in a way to like see about like to help us amplify the signal and hopefully get a publisher on board to help fund the rest of the games, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of like a big part of what this whole thing was, but that's still phenomenal regardless. And as of the time of the show right now, the campaign is still sitting close to $1.2 million with more with more than 9,200 backers and 25 days to go. And let me tell you, I haven't even backed it yet. I will. I'm just waiting on payday.
I backed it.
So there are other people probably in a similar position where like they want this stuff, but you gotta wait for maybe next Friday or another Friday where bills aren't due or something.
No, you know what? Okay, if you guys go to the comment section of like last week's show, you will see like all the people who are like, oh my god, I backed it. Oh my god, I want to back it, but I can't because like it's 2 games and it's expensive. I'm gonna wait.
It is.
Yeah. So absolutely. So I'm expecting this to grow over the next however many days, over maybe 1 or 2 pay periods for people.
And I heard from people who are like, I backed it to get like the vinyl soundtracks and I backed to get the CDs, and it was like they said it was like over $200 per to get like the things that they wanted. I'm like, wow, that's a lot, man. That's incredible. And I know that I want the vinyls. I know I want them, and I want the physicals, and I want the CDs. I definitely do, but I don't want to spend $500. Oh, it's tough.
So can we talk a little bit about that before we watch a new trailer? Because so someone actually asked about it. I think it was Juan who asked about it, and I replied to Juan.
Me too.
Juan's like, oh, I spent a good amount of money. I think that was the gentleman who said like, oh, I spent like $250.
Yep.
And it's like, what do you guys think about the price? Was the question. And so I kind of wanted to talk a little bit. So Juan, if you're listening right now, we're gonna address this right now. So my comment to him was this. I think it's actually par for the course for like limited edition items, because that's what you're really looking at right now. All these vinyls and keychains or whatever, these are all limited edition package. And if you look at the limited edition packages of games that are coming out, they're roughly about that same price range, but less. But there's a reason for it, because one, these limited edition stuff that we see from larger companies like Square Enix, they're probably producing a much larger run, right? So each item costs less and the savings pass to the consumer. Whereas something like this is like even more limited than a limited edition. It's like ultra limited edition. And they're going to run extremely small batches, even smaller than your typical limited edition stuff. So each of those items will cost more to produce, and therefore you will have to pay more, which actually makes about right?
Yeah.
the other thing is this is a Kickstarter campaign, which means that the money they're probably going to asking for extra to help the initial cost of the game.
That's the other half of the equation.
Yeah, so you are paying extra to help support them is the whole point too. So it's not really just about buying the item.
Yeah,
it's to it's to, like just set on a launch pad, if you will.
Yeah.
So
like so in some cases, when you support a game on Kickstarter, a lot of times it's just pre-ordering a game that you haven't even seen in action yet, right? That's kind of what the gamble is in some cases, but at the higher tiers, a lot of times it's really more than just pre-ordering. Even though they might offer some things as rewards, really it's more about basically whales doing whale things, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think so.
I mean, and being compensated in some small way as like a way of saying thank you, but it's really no longer at that point just like a straight transaction of like, I give you money, you give me game. It's like, I will invest in your game production without the expectation of like a significant ROI, right? Like that's
right. Yeah, it's not going to be a one-to-one thing, right?
Yeah.
I think of it as almost like a donation, right?
Yeah.
Because it
like
actually,
when you bid on items at a charity auction, for instance, like you're not bidding like $10,000 on this like on this whatever because it's worth that to you. It's because you want to give $10,000, and then you can do whatever. If you want the item, you can take it. Sometimes people don't even do that. So
that's correct. Yeah.
So it's really just about helping fund the game to make it done. And so anyways, last week we watched the Armed Fantasia trailer, but we didn't really have much of a Penny Blood trailer to look at. We had like a thing, but it wasn't really the thing. Because that didn't actually come out in time for our show last week, which is kind of a blessing in disguise because now we get to take an extra moment to focus exclusively on Penny Blood and talk about this campaign yet again. So let's do that. And you know what? Last time they retweeted our episode of HitPoint. We got a little shout out in their campaign. Actually, Can I take a second and just say, like, dude, that was awesome.
Oh yeah, you didn't even know about it until like
I didn't
the next day. I was like, yo, Derek, did you see your tweet getting retweeted?
No, they tweeted about me, David Vink, and a couple other people. I think. I mean, they didn't tweet about it, but it was on their Kickstarter page. I'm like,
that was awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't even like we were just talking about it because it's in the news and it's exciting. But I appreciate it, guys. So anyways, you don't have to do it this week.
I did add them though. I'm like, by the way, no.
All right. All right. Let's take a look at the Penny Blood trailer this time. All right.
Yes.
And he does have a little bit of a resemblance to Yuri.
I have not seen this yet, by the way. So I'm watching this for the first time with you guys.
Yeah. Work in progress may change in final product. Super important. Oh, look at that. Look at that mirror, or not mirror, mini map. You notice that? That kind of hints at something maybe being a little more open world-ish. So this is, I think we saw this.
I think this is what we saw, yeah.
Yeah, the Ring of Judgment sort of analog.
Yeah.
So that's going to be all like timing-based button presses. Kind of Legend of Dragoonish, you know? Oh,
now it's an extended trailer. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, and it shows turn priority at the top. Is that turn order or turn priority? What's
turn priority?
Yeah, I'm wondering what that means. Priority. Does that have something else going on behind? Okay, he's got the transformations back from Shadow Hearts.
Sick.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
Counter.
Some timing based stuff. Yep.
Ooh. Listen, sir, if you make this trailer looks this good, it's going to be hard to hype responsibly.
That is
You
true.
got it. Can you not?
That does look like a
Please.
proper follow-up to at least the combat of Shadow Hearts.
Oh, they're not making this easy. They're not making this easy. Well, I'm glad that I backed both games already. So okay,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna sit back and wait for it to be
this looks
released.
Obviously far more Shadow Heartsy than it does Kodelka inspired, I think, and it looks like they're really re-embracing a lot more of that horror side of things, which is what I really enjoyed about what I really enjoyed about the games. And I heard that they kind of strayed away from that a little bit with the new world. So hopefully, when this comes out, it'll be a nice little Halloween Spooptober type game.
Weren't we talking about some time ago? I remember we were talking about horror in JRPG, and how there aren't that many titles.
Yeah, there really aren't. That does sound like something we talked about on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, I just vividly remember because that's when we talked about Shadow Hearts like months ago, and what have you. Well, like, oh yeah, why don't you guys come up with some examples of like horror JRPGs? And there were only so few. In fact, like Shadow Hearts just keep showing up, like Shadow Hearts. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Not there anything else? Like, well, there's that other game. What's it called?
Kodelka. Yeah, that was the one that was prequel to.
Yeah, and that also showed up in the conversation, but that was about it.
It really, I mean, there's Parasite Eve, I guess. And
Parasite Eve is definitely one of them.
Yeah, but really, like this is the big one.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, if you're interested in backing this title, we have included a link to the Kickstarter in the description down below. It's it will be there after the show. It's got a lot more information on the games now than it did last week. So if you're interested, do be sure to give it a quick look. Now we do have another video from none other than Matsuzo Machida, who provided us another Kickstarter video specifically. So let's take a look at what he's got going on here.
Oh, the thing is hilarious. We can watch a little bit, yeah.
It's a long video. It's like 6 minutes long.
Oh, towards the middle, it's just like the preview videos that we already saw, so you don't have to watch that.
So this is definitely not in game. That's a little bit of compositing. I could. What? 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 Wait, I want to take a look at what else is on this list of.
You can pause it.
Wait, look, what else is on this wheel?
Clean your room. Make a what?
Beetle racing park. Go home.
Beetle racing. Okay.
Yeah. Go home. Be a family man. No, better not do that. Become a spoony bard. What is a man?
What is a man?
We got get rich with NFTs. No nuts. Do it.
No, please do not do it.
Oh man,
this is great.
That is fantastic. Whoever made that wheel is a meme lord, a legend. It's a nice little library. Strange Book of Secrets called.
He's just like low-key filmed this in like a local library.
Oh, look at that CRT behind him. You see that?
Probably also from the local library.
Oh, dude, that looks so nice though. I want that book. I want that TV.
That book is clearly blank.
Well,
You're
yeah,
writing
so
in a
far.
book in the library? How dare you? What are you doing?
He's making a new
sir?
game. Look at that. This is how it's done, Baku. Don't question
art.
his methods. This is how
In
it's
a
done.
in a local library.
Oh, he's coming up with some amazing things, I can tell. What to call it? Spring-Heeled Jack. Oh, Spring-Heeled Jack. That was in Elder Scrolls at one point. Penny Blood.
Penny blood.
I wonder how he came up with that.
I mean, it's been years. This year is like the year of JRPG.
It is
boom.
now.
Are you crazy? Like,
but I think he is talking about.
did you shoot this in
dude,
2012?
dude, look at that. That TV. Is that
Sony?
a PVM?
I don't know.
That's a solid.
Kaneko. I have a good idea. Each of these games are aimed at our individual fan bases. Why not collaborate?
Oh, I've been dreaming of writing a new adventure in the wilderness myself. So why don't we team up? Team ups are always awesome. Let's do it. Kickstarter. Double Kickstarter have such a cool kick to it. Yeah. I can dig it. Sugoi. Yes.
Okay, so that's where the trailer began, so we can stop. Yeah. It's just the trailers that we already saw.
Yeah, but I want to listen to it again.
Oh, God damn it.
See, if I was to get one of the soundtracks, it would absolutely be for Armed Fantasia.
It sounds incredible. Well, already.
It does.
Just from the trailer, so. What am I saying? What am I kidding? This game looks and sound amazing right now. So it's just, it is really hard to contain the hype. It really is. It really is extremely.
I know. It's so good.
You need. I will play the crap out of this one.
I mean, I can't skip it, obviously. That looks so cool. And it sounds so good.
The whole Wild West
Jeez.
like RPG thing, I love it. I love the aesthetics so much.
You know, maybe that's what the
So glad they're
tie-in
bringing
is.
it back.
Maybe
And
that's
it's the,
okay. And this
that's
is the one that we
trailer
just saw.
Yeah,
Okay, but I'll let it play in the background while we talk for a second.
sure.
Because I feel like that's one of the things that actually connect these two seemingly disconnected RPGs from one another. It's what connects them is that they are both sort of JRPGs that have sort of a cinematic genre tie-in. So one of them is the horror RPG, one is the Western RPG, right?
Yeah, gothic horror versus like the Western films, right?
Yeah, these are themed RPGs, right?
Oh.
That's what ties them together, but beyond just the fact that they're being kickstarted right now. Links in the description down below. But
Never thought of it that way, but yeah, no,
because it seemed like such an
right.
odd pairing before. I mean, it still does, but yeah. But that helps kind of make things make sense. Okay, I like a lot of like the graphic style here. That now that upon watching this a second time, when you zoom in real close, you can probably see sometimes how they have like little bits of hatching, is what we call it in the artistry business. The lines that are all kind of like part of the shading there and the cape that you just saw. They're more like ink lines, but they're all kind of dynamically generated based on the shader that they're using.
Wow,
that is definitely unique. Oh, what have we
I didn't
here?
know there were more things.
JRPG を開発するための資金を集めることは簡単なことではありません。だからこそ多くのサポートを必要としています。
We do need lots of support. Oh, wow.
Please help us make our dreams come true.
No, sir. Please make our dreams come true.
Touche, Baku. The only answer, the only correct response to that. Oh, so that was like, how many people was that at the end on that like Zoom call?
I mean, those are the probably like team members, right? Like key team members. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Was that? It looked like maybe was that like 25 people in there?
Well, I mean, it's 2 games, so.
Oh, 24. Looks like 24 people so far. No, yep. Wow, that's a lot of people involved in this already.
Programmer, composers, product owners,
I wonder,
directors.
I wonder, is Naruke Iwadare on here at all?
Maybe. I didn't get to see the names, so
it's up right now, I think. Let's see. I mean, some of them are in Japanese though, so I can't.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, super awesome. I'm glad that we watched the whole trailer and got to see that end.
Yes. Oh, that was great.
How could after seeing that and that request to make their dreams come true, how could I not back that? I must.
How could you not?
It's going to happen.
Monster.
I'll
monster
follow up.
if you didn't.
I will follow up soon with my own backer number. So I'm looking forward to being a part of the JRPG history, the future. Man, the future of JRPG history.
Yeah, I can only hope that this is not going to turn into, I keep saying it, but like the Mighty Number 9 situations is like, please let it be.
But
like
it could be like Bloodstained. It could be like Bloodstained.
All Bloodstained. Yeah. There are definitely more success than failure, but it's just, it's hard to forget the really bad traumatic failures. But to be fair, there has been more successful Kickstarter that has resulted from these developers, veteran developers, than not. So, with that said, not necessarily encouraging this, because let it be known that there's no guarantee that you will get an end product with this donation. But that being said, I have put my own money in it. So,
do you?
Disclaimers. Yeah, disclaimers.
Okay, cool. All right. So let's go ahead and move along to some industry news.
Yes.
So here's one that's kind of interesting. And that is that PQube may be in some sort of trouble here. It's hard to tell because we haven't got all the details yet, but we have been hearing from PQube quite a bit lately, publishing a whole lot of upcoming titles. We actually talked about it in the last episode. We're like, man, PQube has been on a roll lately, right?
Yes.
It's kind of funny how that came up actually so recently.
Yeah, no, 2 games that we talked about today are being published by PQube. The Adventure Academia, White Day, those are PQube, and among other games that we've kind of talked about.
Yeah. So recently, a Space for the Unbound developer, Mojiken and Toge Productions, have accused PQube, the publisher, of, quote, predatory practices related to the usage of a diversity fund grant, which resulted in the game being delayed until further notice. Which game was delayed until further notice? Do you know, Baku?
A Space for the Unbound.
Okay, a Space for the Unbound. That's what. Okay,
yes,
I got you. So it's being delayed until further notice. Now, this week, a new allegation against PQube is also coming out, this time from the Thailand-based Corcel developer of 2019's Eterno Blade 2, who is claiming that PQube is withholding some agreed-upon payments and is refusing to return publishing control for the game.
Yes.
So now PQube has denied the wrongdoing on both counts, but we don't really have any more details than that as of the time of right now. So hopefully, I mean, like we were just saying, PQube has their hands in a lot of different games, and I guess law of rule of large numbers. Basically, 1,000 games coming through. Some of them are going to have some less than stellar experiences. Hopefully, though, these will come to some sort of peaceable agreement, some sort of agreeable decision between all parties involved. But I mean, hey, I mean, two, as they say, one is something, two is a coincidence, three is a pattern. So we'll
Yeah.
see if, I mean, if this is starting to happen and gain some attention, if anybody else is having issues with PQube, I think they'll probably speak up soon, and we'll have more information to go on. But for right now, I'm just gonna sit back and hope that things sort themselves out. But yeah, we have not heard from PQube about this, so yeah, we'll see what
Yeah.
happens, I guess.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean you pretty much hit it right on the head for on the whole thing about just if there are just more people coming out, it could escalate to something maybe a little bit more serious and systemic, right? Instead of
Yeah.
just one off, maybe some things didn't happen, and with like any particular developer, but as one, a lot of these things where you get accusations, like
Yeah.
a lot of times, like, one comes down and another group finally have like the courage to come out and say something, especially if they're like small developers speaking up against like a larger company.
Hmm.
It's kind of hard, right? Maybe no one takes you seriously. It's like, oh, you're just like a little nobody, like who even are you? But as the more of these come out, if we hear more things, it could be a sign of more systemic issues. So obviously, we're not saying that that is the case, but
Sure.
we want to, just keep an eye on it as the story develops over time, and seeing how it may potentially impact the games that we have talked about. And I think that's probably the biggest thing is like I don't personally care if PQ gets in trouble, right? It's
Sure.
like, yeah, but all these
Doesn't bug me
games,
either way. Uh-huh.
yeah, all these games that you're publishing that I really want to see, like, I don't know, academia, right? I'm just like, look, listen, don't you dare mess that up, right?
Hmm.
So I'm gonna keep you guys updated,
Yeah.
if anything else comes up.
I do have another thought of potential insight, or maybe I'll just talk out of my butt here for a
Hmm.
moment. But I guess that, as what I've been told last week, people are here for it. So, one of those other things that I know about PQube is that they tend to specialize in a lot of the smaller developers,
That's right.
which
Yeah.
does put them in a bit of a position of like being a gatekeeper in some ways.
Hmm.
They have to make a lot of executive decisions about can this game actually be published in the West, and would it be successful there? They're by nature of that going to be exposing themselves to a bit more risk, right? These are
Hmm.
riskier endeavors because they're bringing over games like Metal Max Xeno, for instance, who don't have that name recognition to them. So there's a
Hmm.
possibility that, in order to make it worth their while, maybe some of those contracts that they work out, maybe they don't always like, maybe they take a larger cut of the
Hmm.
publishing costs, for
Yeah.
instance, to help offset the additional risks,
Hmm.
which some people might say is predatory, and others might
Hmm.
say that's how they're able to stay in business. But
Hmm.
it is what it is. But um,
Yeah.
so that's the first thing that comes to my mind when they mentioned predatory practices. I don't
Hmm.
know if that's what they're referring to, or what. I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. But that is the first thing that came to my mind, at least. Is, I mean, that I don't know. That's coming out of nowhere,
Yeah.
completely made up. So take that with a huge grain of salt.
Absolutely. And yeah, so we'll see how this thing develops. Hopefully, again, like Derek said, they come to like an amiable, conclusion,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
All right. So, moving on to some happier news. 35th anniversary for Street Fighter. Am I right? Do we have any
Hey.
Street Fighter fans in the house? Because I'm not really a big Street Fighter fan, but I know you guys might be Street Fighter fans. Yay! So, celebrating the 35th anniversary of the franchise, Capcom just launched a new English website to celebrate the occasion. The site is about sharing stories. The site features stories shared by current and former Capcom employees who worked on the game, as well as a separate page hosting what they call the history lesson page that would take us down like the memory lane of Street Fighter from its inception. So it's actually pretty neat. There's not like a whole lot of things to look at, but I think for any Street Fighter fans like out there, this has got to be it could be like a pretty emotional thing. I looked at it. I thought it was pretty cool. And it kind of brought me back to a little bit of my childhood because I did play some Street Fighter growing up.
Yeah, we all spammed Hadouken at one point.
Yeah, so I'm just like, oh yeah, spamming Hadouken. It's like, and then you get another friend who will like also spam Hadouken back at you,
and
you
they cancel
just shooting Hadouken. Like it's just whoever can like
spam it faster.
Do it faster. Yeah, wins. Yeah. Oh, those Hadouken battles are hilarious. Yeah, good times, man. Good times.
I would pay to watch one of those at like not BlizzCon. What's the big con that they have? Evo, yes. Yeah. At Evo. I would pay to watch that.
Donate
Hadouken
money for Hadouken battle. Yo, hey, listen, Evo, are you watching this right now? Yeah, you guys should definitely host a Hadouken battle. Just for charity.
That'd be an incredible thing to watch.
I think it would be great.
Because eventually somebody's got to get worn down.
Right?
Somebody has to lose. You can't be a robot all the time.
Right?
A 3-hour match. Just got to turn off the time limit.
Infinite. Okay, so fun fact, that's where I learned infinity symbol.
Oh yeah?
From fighting games.
Yes.
From fighting games. It's true. I learned the infinity symbol not from math class but from fighting games, because like, what is this thing like that replaces the timer? And then I just didn't know what it was.
It has the figure of an 8, but it is sideways.
Yeah, it's not counting down. What's going on? Yeah. It turns out that was the infinity symbol. I was like, oh, okay, I learned something new. I felt really smart. Link in the description down below. Once it's available, you can check out that 35th anniversary page.
All right. So I feel like this is something you should be talking about, but
yeah, sure. I can talk about the next two, and then you close it out, right? Okay.
Sure.
So, moving right along, Ryuga Gotoku Studio TV 12.5. So, if that name does not ring a bell to you, RGG Studio might, and that's the studio under Sega that makes the Yakuza franchise. So they have these regular broadcasts called Ryuga Gotoku Studio TV. This is going to be the technically the 12.5 edition, because it's not going to be a full hour, so it's not 13. I don't know. Listen, I'm just a messenger. They decided on 12.5. But it's especially significant because they're saying that there's going to be a sneak peek preview to one of its new games. And the show is going to be on at September 8th. So that's in a couple of days at 7 a.m. Eastern time. So if you want to wake up early to watch this,
it's rough.
I know.
Are you going to be able to make it?
And it's in Japanese. So
are you going to be able to make it?
I will not wake up for it. I'll watch it when I wake up.
Okay.
I'll watch it in an hour. Yeah. So now they have not said what will be previewed, but fans heavily speculating that it's going to be a preview of Yakuza 8. Which you guys will probably know as the sequel to Yakuza Like a Dragon. They have shown there were some like leaks on like videos of the staff working on Yakuza 8. So there are little like little screenshots that has been leaked. So they're definitely working on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like at a certain point with these long-running series, it's like you always know that the next one is in some stage of development.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Final Fantasy 17. Final Fantasy 17 is definitely in its conceptual phases at this point. Like,
oh yeah,
of course it is, because of course it is.
Of course it is. Yeah. So stay tuned for that, and once we figure out exactly what that is, probably in the next HitPoint, we'll tell you all about that.
All right.
Yes. Now the next one is something that we've been waiting for. Oh boy, this is hold on. Let me take a
this is basically it's like the E3 we care about.
Yeah. Okay. This next piece of news is sort of like the motherlode of like Japanese gaming. Tokyo Game Show 2022. Who does not know TGS by now, right? We talked about a little bit because they announced it, and there are all these developers who've already talked about what they're going to showcase. So let's talk about what we know so far. We're not going to talk about all the things, but just some of the major developers. Let's start with Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco will be highlighting One Piece Odyssey and new announcements on the Tales series. So I think those are like the things to watch. Like, what does the One Piece Odyssey look like? And what exactly do you mean by new announcements in the Tales series? Now, it could be extremely disappointing, like, oh, I don't know, here's another Tales
NFTs.
mobile game with NFTs, because
Yay.
Or it could be a new like Tales game, like, I don't know, Tales of Rise 2 is, I don't know, maybe. We'll see. So let's see what Bandai Namco shows us in TGS. Next, we've got Capcom, who will be showing off Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. If you guys remember what that is, they basically took all the games and turned it into 2 separate collections from the Battle Network. And a lot of people have said that Battle Network is like one of the best Mega Man games, like period, for them. So I hope you guys are excited for that. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, no surprise there. It's like sort of like their like headliners right now that everybody's playing. Resident Evil 8 with PSVR 2, so that's in collaboration with Sony. Street Fighter 6, of course, that's on the horizon, so they're gonna be showcasing that. For Square Enix, we've got Final Fantasy 7 Reunion, Harvestella, Star Ocean, Valkyrie Elysium, The Battlefield, Conquer, and Chrono Trigger. I mean, it's not Chrono Trigger. Did I just say Chrono Trigger?
What?
Is that just kidding? No, sorry. I was thinking Chrono Trigger for some reason because it's around that time frame. No, it's actually Tactics Ogre. Still a great game from that same era. Tactics Ogre Showcase. So they'll be showcasing all of these games, which, you know, we kind of expected, right? A lot of these games are coming out like right around that time frame. But with a special Saga series live stream.
Oh.
So that's interesting. It's like, what are you going to talk about? But I think it's the same boat as like Tales. It could be like a super disappointing, here's another mobile game. Or here's the new Saga game that we're announcing. We don't know. We'll see.
No, these are things, again, just to re-emphasize, these are things that we know about that they will be talking about, right?
Yes.
Not predictions.
Factuals. These are not predictions. These are factual things that they have already listed in their
itinerary.
What is it called? Yeah, basically. Yeah, the schedule is already out for all this, which I'll touch on in a second. But these are all known facts. These are not speculations on our part. We'll talk a little bit about speculations like towards the end. Yeah, I want to give you all the facts first, right?
All right.
So Konami gonna, absolutely. Konami is gonna talk about a new Bomberman game. Talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, and they'll also talk about Kuro no Kiseki 2. Now they will also be announcing a new game. Definitely announcing a new game, quote, a series which is loved all over the world. Don't know what that means. Konami's coming out like pretty strong this time for games. Like, they've been kind of quiet for a while, but they're trying to come back into console game making. So we'll see how that goes. Now,
hang on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So on under Konami, did you say Kuro no Kiseki showcase?
Yes, I think they're working with Falcom to showcase their games. So I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why that's the case, but it is in their slot.
I'm sorry, that I wasn't expecting to hear that, and when I heard it, I was just like,
what?
Kiseki?
I know that I had to reread it too, but it's in the itinerary, so I don't know. They probably worked out some kind of deal.
Okay.
Now, and you should hear what comes after this, but continue on with the new game. Because fans are speculating that it may be what is it called? What's that horror game?
Like Silent Hills.
Yeah, so fans are speculating it might be Silent Hill, but you all might be interested in knowing this. It might be nothing, but Konami had just done something with the Suikoden trademark. just right ahead of TGS.
Baku.
I don't know what that means, but
Baku.
I'm just saying that that is the thing that has happened. It may be correlated, it may not be correlated.
Okay.
I'm just saying that it happened.
Okay.
I'm giving you the facts. I'm giving you the facts.
I
the
appreciate
fact
the facts.
Let
Let me just say,
Suikoden.
if it's Suikoden,
Mhm.
then probably not that
A
interested.
series.
If it's a collection, I'll be excited. I'll be interested. If it is a new entry,
Series.
it's going to be a
which is
serious wait and see for me.
loved
we'll
all
even
over
see.
the world. I don't know
know.
what that means. Those are direct quotes for Konami. Okay.
All over the world.
all
Oh,
over the
Ganbari
world.
Goemon.
Damn it! That we were all wrong. They played us.
You never see it coming.
Oh, speaking of Falcom, Konami will also actually showcase the Falcom JDK band, who will perform a special live concert for Kudo no Kiseki 2 on the 17th. So I know a lot of you love the the Trails music. So Konami will actually be bringing the Falcom JDK band to play some of the tracks on the 17th. So definitely do not miss that. Now, moving on to Koei Tepco. Of course, they'll be showing Team Ninja's new game, Wolong Fallen Dynasty, of course. But the big news is there will be a new Gust game. Gust, of course, is a subsidiary underneath Koei Tepco, responsible for the Atelier series, among other things. So, what's that? A Blue Reflection, for example, is under Gust. So there'll be a new announcement. Sega Atlas, not a strong showing, but they will be bringing Sonic Frontiers and all the Persona ports. So expect to see more things there.
I do have my own pet theory that I've expressed before. So hopefully they've left a little bit of room for something bigger than that. But
Persona 6?
We'll see. That is it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's continue on with the facts first.
Yes,
We'll
facts.
talk about speculation in a second. So how do you watch all of this? That all sounds good. How do I watch this? Simple. There's actually a Tokyo Game Show official YouTube channel, which we will link in the description as usual. There's also like a timetable that someone has created. Like it's an official TGS timetable. Sorry, not someone. TGS made a timetable, and it's in English, which we'll also include in the description. So that's gonna help you like manage like, oh, what am I watching? Because I think there are like multiple things like being shown simultaneously, like in the expo, right? So you can kind of like mix and match, and if you miss something, you you can come back and watch it later. It's all gonna be there. So that's where we are. So a speculation time. Now that the facts are done, we're done talking about facts. Now speculation time. All right, let's go. What do we got? All
right. So speculation number one. I've already mentioned it, so I'll say it again. Persona 6. It's their Persona 25th anniversary. Not Capcom. Atlas has, like you said, kind of a weak showing. That's not like them. I mean, it kind of is, but I mean, between Sega and Atlas to only show off like 2 things, and one of them is Sonic Frontiers and Persona ports. Like, it feels like they're missing a little something bigger that maybe they could be like, oh, by the way, after we're done talking about the Persona ports, they could be like, by the way, in celebration of the Persona 25th anniversary, here is a crappy teaser where we show you the word Persona 6 on a black background or something.
I like how you have just casually insulted every Sonic fan. It's just like Sonic Frontiers, like the biggest like Sonic game to come out in a while. It's like, that's nothing. That's weak. It's like, wait, what? That's their mascot, man. That's...
hey, that is Sega. That is Sega, sure.
Sure, yes.
Okay, now you did say though that the guys behind Yakuza might have a showing as well. So I guess maybe is that not part of this Sega/Atlas?
No, that
thing?
was a separate thing. That was their own broadcast. Now it could be that they will show some stuff from Yakuza there, but that's not what they have announced. So
Yeah.
yeah, the RGG Studio TV, that's like its own little thing on the 8th. So like a week before, actually not, is it a week? Yeah, like a week before TGS.
Okay.
Yeah, so a week before TGS.
So I feel like, I mean, Sega proper, between those two big things of theirs, that's they're probably, you know, firing dry there. So that's why I'm thinking the Persona ports, like, sure, that's, I mean, we kind of already know all that there is to know about Persona ports at this point, right? But while they're bringing up the Persona ports, hey, since we have your attention about these ports, here's a big new announcement. So there's that. That's my big theory. You know, and I hope that I'm right. I'm probably wrong. Hype responsibly, you know. But the other thing, I mean, we're hearing a bit of radio silence lately, so far from Square Enix about the new upcoming Kingdom Hearts 4 that they have announced.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see some sort of additional showing from them on that front. But you know, it is TGS. It is not, I mean, it's not the biggest event that they hold. Like sometimes around E3 they do their own thing and make like bigger splashes. But I would like to see some more about this forthcoming weird kind of you know, continuation of the Kingdom Hearts series. I don't know.
I'm gonna laugh so hard if they release like a Persona racing game. Don't think they won't.
No, get out.
I mean, no, because here's the thing: Persona's got a fighting game. Okay, Persona's got a rhythm game.
Yep, true.
Persona's got dungeon crawlers. They like exploring
PQ.
different like game styles, man. And racing game is picture this: Persona All Star, like Mario Party style. With little personas that you can summon in the map to like mess your friends up.
I'm trying to think of something that's more real.
Summon
realistic.
Mara, like, you know, like.
I mean, that chariot would be pretty fast, I bet.
Right?
It would probably have special ramming powers for all of the. You know.
Listen, if they ever release a Persona party game, I will buy it. I have a lot of friends who like Persona anyway. So like, oh dude, I would absolutely buy a Persona party game.
How about a Persona FPS?
Probably not, no. Nothing can get me to play FPS. You make a Hatsune Miku FPS, I wouldn't play it. Are you crazy?
I know. I wouldn't play it either, but I mean, hey, whatever. We'll see.
Yeah, my personal wait, sorry. Do you have any more prediction before I fire off some? No, I think my personal prediction would be like a new Ultilia game. That's probably it seems like
right.
a Gus thing to do. But
Ultilia Rise of 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, but they had just released Sophie 2 not too long ago, so maybe not. Another candidate that I think might be possible is Blue Reflection 3, because they came out Blue Reflection 2 and the anime, and you know, while it wasn't that well received in the States, or maybe I don't know anywhere else in the world, but it was pretty well received in Japan. So this being TGS, like, look. They still make a lot of games that if they think it will sell in Japan, they'll do it. Like, and especially if it's like a relatively low budget game. So
Sure.
I think that's definitely in the realm of things. In terms of the Saga series live stream, I think they're probably going to end up talking about the Saga
Minstrel Song.
Yeah. But what I'm kind of hoping that they would do is probably do a remaster and or remake of Saga Frontier 2 would be interesting. I'm not a big fan of the game, but I know a lot of people are a fan of the game, and it seems like that would be like next. They already did the remaster of Romance Saga 3 and Saga Frontier 1, so it just seems like a no-brainer that they would do the second game too. So we shall see. So that's something that I'm thinking of. The Tales series, I can make heads or tails, honestly. Like Tales of Arise just sold way more than I think even they expected, especially with a new director on the helm of that game. Like that game blew up. Like a lot of people have never even heard of Tales before, they now know.
Yeah.
Even though it's a long running series with a dedicated following, Tales of Arise made a lot of new fans. So I don't know if they will make a mobile game because I don't trust them sometimes with the Tales series, man. They make great games and then they make like mobile games with like all these gotchas and whatnot. So we shall see. All right.
You know, I did have one last thing that would be it's not so much of a prediction, but like a Hail Mary. I would like to see from Square Enix a new Mana title announced.
Oh, that would be nice. Maybe not this year.
Maybe not. I mean,
Maybe
but
not
hey,
this
it's
year.
been a little while since Trials of Mana remake was released.
Yeah, it's true.
So they could potentially have been working on, like, especially because it did pretty well. So
absolutely, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. So I hope to see something like that, but I don't. It's not a prediction. I don't think it'll be there, but I hope it is.
My Hail Mary is Breath of Fire from Capcom.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. I will gladly accept that. By the way, on the subject of Breath of Fire, because I've also seen it mentioned a few times in the chat, you know, there is a Kickstarter that is soon to be starting here from an indie developer, but but it's not started yet.
Tears of Magic.
Yes, and
that
I
do know it.
It has grabbed my attention. I'm keeping my eyes on it. Beautiful pixel art so far, but
so for anyone who's still wondering about that, that was actually on the docket for about 5 seconds before I erased it.
Me too.
And the reason is
it hasn't started.
It hasn't started yet.
Yep.
So I don't want to keep having to come back and talk about it. Once they get it onto the Kickstarter, they've got a video that I can show you, then I'm like, okay, let's get you guys into this. But right now it's like, oh, here's the fishing demo, and I'm just like, I don't know. It just didn't feel like it has enough substance yet. Not yet, but we will talk about it once it gets there.
They did get us talking about it regardless because it looks nice. So
I mean, in depth,
before we commit any additional time to it, let's move along to some new announcements from NISA, who have revealed that they are going to be revealing some new games in a showcase next week. NIS America have just announced a new game showcase for the 7th of this month at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So I'll
wake up for this.
I was going to say that is within the realm of possibility for Baku to wake up.
And it's in English this time, so
10 a.m. Central Time, so I'll be awake. And it's going to be on their YouTube channel. Links to that will be in the description down below. While the publisher did not give any hints about what the games that they will showcase are, they will be showing us at least 4 game announcements.
That's a lot of games.
It's a lot of games.
That's a lot of games.
So, what are your predictions here, Mr. Baku?
Yeah, I did write down some things. So I think we talked about Disgaea 7 already for Japan. So it seems appropriate timing for them to talk about the international release. So I think that's more of a no-brainer. Yeah, I'd be surprised if they don't talk about it. And if they didn't talk about it, it's probably because it just isn't ready. But there's no way that they wouldn't talk about it, right?
Sure.
Then there's the Trinity Presents NIS Classics series. They've just recently released one with Rhapsody and Leprosel, and it's actually a lot of people are having fun with that game, and are just kind of raving about the that new classic that just come out. Now that they can play these games in more modern consoles. I think they're gonna keep pushing new classics, from their catalog and just kind of like scratch that classics like retro itch that a lot of gamers have. So I think that's pretty cool. I also do think that they're gonna talk about Trails Kudo. I do think that they are going to talk about it, and that's because
I think it ties in a little bit to what we're talking about here next.
So let's just hold off on that. I think they're going to talk about Trails Kudo. Okay. What about you, Derek? Do you have any predictions of your own?
All Trails.
I think it's going
to be a Trails announcement, actually.
4 games? What are the four Trails games that they'll talk about?
I don't know. It's just everything that they haven't announced yet. So
have they announced? Wait, have they released Steel 4, Cold Steel 4?
Yeah, Cold Steel 4 is out.
Cold Steel 4 is out,
You know,
and
but
then
there's Kuro, there's Hajimari. You know, there's
Ravine's already talked about that. They have an English name for it.
Did they?
I thought it's called this is an official name. Because I was talking about how I didn't like the official name.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. I guess I live under a rock sometimes, so I didn't hear about the new official name. But I was just thinking maybe these would be announcements, maybe not reveals, but announcements about Trails titles.
Yeah, like give you more info.
Maybe expected release dates.
Yeah.
I mean, with the release of Azure, you know, next year and Zero this year, just around the corner this month, actually, I think. It would be pretty relevant for them to be talking a lot about their plans for the rest of the series, which again ties in really closely into this next thing that I'll go ahead and just dive into now since we're on the subject, which is a certain cease and desist that was issued by NISA to Zero Field fan translations.
Yes.
And this kind of comes out as a bit of a shock in some ways and not so much in others. So Zero Field fan translation team has taken down their translation spreadsheets for various Trails titles, including or following rather a cease and desist order from NISA. So this was revealed by Kitsune over on Twitter that they were contacted by NISA about a perceived copyright infringement and that they were kind of unwilling to negotiate. I don't know what a negotiation in this sort of manner would have looked like. So that's just kind of additional commentary, I guess, there. So the works that are affected by this include several titles that are receiving forthcoming releases from NISA, including Trails from Zero, Trails to Azure, Kuro no Kiseki, and Hajimari no Kiseki. Now these, and I think they actually had another that was about to be released as well. So these spreadsheet localizations allowed players to basically play alongside the games with official Japanese releases of the games, and then cross-reference like the spreadsheets to figure out, you know, what the text meant. And you can then play them before an official Western release was available.
Yeah.
Notably, though, some pieces of overlay software also allowed the players to play the games with English text overlaid on top of the game itself. So, so essentially, using the spreadsheets and this additional software that was apparently also available on their website, you could just play the games outright without actually having to cross-reference back and forth. Now, I did really reach out to NISA for some additional information. I wanted to see what they had to say about it, if anything. I didn't hear back from them, but I also didn't really have a whole lot of time. I was like, it's a half hour before the start of the show. And I'm like, you know, I wonder if they would respond to me. They haven't, not yet. But if we do hear back from them, I'll let you guys know. So my take on this as of right now isn't exactly a very spicy one. I think that I kind of have this tendency toward trying to see things from everybody's side, you know, and I can definitely see from the side of Zero Field translations how this would really, really suck. And from a lot of fans' perspectives, I feel like a lot of this is going to feel a lot like not just like corporations doing corporate things, because it definitely is corporations doing corporate things or companies protecting their investments in another way of putting it. But another part of this is going to feel a bit more personal for a lot of fans, I think, because this is just on the heels of us talking about Trails from Zero, Trails to Azure. Like they were, NISA was like embracing fan translations very recently, right? With
Geofront.
So with a lot of people, this probably feels a lot less like just a standard, you know, company being a company and more like a betrayal of sort of an established bit of trust with the fan translation community. So, and I guess that might have been somewhat of what they were hoping to do through negotiation, based on just nothing but my own, my own trying to piece things together here.
Yeah.
Now the side that I imagine again, completely making this all up, but would be that with the upcoming releases and maybe some of these upcoming announcements about Trails specifically, I think that what's probably going on here is, I mean, just a company trying to protect their investments. A lot of, I mean, the publishing rights that they have, and they are copyright rights essentially. Basically, they have a contract with Falcom to allow them to bring things over. What does that contract look like? I don't know. But what it means is that they have exclusive publishing rights to those things. And what that means to them is that they have this contract, this right to these games, essentially, to distribute them in the West. And competing against a fan translation team for that cut of the pie is not within the company's best interests, right?
That's right.
And it does come down to copyright. Even if, and I know that a lot goes into localization and translation, but even in the process of localizing things and translating them, while you can leave your own imprint on them, you are essentially still translating a copyright, a work of copyrighted art, of literacy. What am I thinking of? The word a literary work. We'll say that much. And even though it has been modified, it would not necessarily fall under the category of fair use because it does replace the need for the original work. That's one of the defining characteristics of fair use. So it is still something that would fall under the purview of copyright. And as a result, they are definitely within their right to do this. You know, it just stings, right? And it sucks for everybody involved because, again, they were just working with Geofront on the localization of Zero and Azure. So the other thing that kind of I recently remembered through a discussion with friend of the show Naticus here pretty recently was how actually it wasn't until very recently that NISA had the rights to the works of Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure. And it was at that time when they gathered those rights to it, then they contacted Geofront and worked out something. They didn't cease and desist prior to that because they didn't have the rights to it, right? And Falcom isn't the one who's issuing cease and desist orders, right?
No, it's not Falcom.
Yeah. So that's, I think, part of what happened with Geofront and why they decided to partner with Geofront was because they probably would have, if they had the rights prior, they probably would have cease and desisted the Geofront patch prior to its release, but it already existed by the time that they acquired the rights. So they, did Geofront team a solid. They also partnered with them to bring their work over officially. So I think that was kind of a very rare circumstance where that was allowed to happen. So, I mean, that's, again, like I said, it's not a very hot take. I think that I'm trying to see things from everybody's side and everybody's angle. And I know that this has a lot of people super pissed off. And I understand that too.
It is the most requested story today. Absolutely. I keep seeing people like, are you going to talk about this? Did you see this? Like, yes, we saw it.
So I can't offer solutions. I'm just saying, this is what I think happened. And I think it jives with my understanding of, how businesses have to protect their investments. And acquiring the rights to localize is an investment, and if people buy the Japanese copy of the game and not the localized copy of the game because they can, play it with an English patch essentially, that hits their bottom line. And if you don't assert and enforce your copyrights, there are serious legal ramifications that result in that, including the loss of your rights to that copy.
Yeah, so about copyright laws, and this is something that I didn't know before I looked into it years ago. I mean, I've known it for a while now, but I didn't know this until I actually went and look into it. I was told that basically it's a use it or lose it.
Yeah.
If you don't defend your copyright, you don't make an effort to defend it, you lose that copyright. in the court of law.
And what that means is that if you don't enforce your copyright, and if you do lose access to your copyright by not defending it, then what could potentially happen, and it's maybe not something that would happen, but what could potentially happen is then somebody else come in and release a Western release version of this that then competes on store shelves. Like, I mean, there would probably be some additional stuff that would have to happen through Falcom, but like somebody might end up being able to renegotiate a contract with Falcom, for instance, because NISA isn't upholding their end of protecting that copyright or something to that effect.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually on the burden of the rights holder to enforce protect your own copyrights. It is not, So if you do nothing about it, then people can just walk over and just no consequences whatsoever. It's up to you to defend your own copyrights. That's part of the thing, and that's why sometimes you'll see these kind of frivolous suits that sounds ridiculous. But it's like, almost like they don't have a choice. It's like, well, if I don't do this with you, then another company can actually infringe the rights and then call out on the fact that I didn't try to defend it before, and it's going to hurt against the case. I know
draw
it's
something
crazy.
To draw something
but that's
completely
how the law
unrelated,
works.
To do something completely unrelated, Square Enix or Squaresoft back in the day cease and desisted the Chrono Resurrections fan remake of Chrono Trigger. If they hadn't protected that copyright, like what could have happened is people just start making Chrono games. Like,
basically. I know it sounds crazy, but that's actually how the law works. So it's by the design of the legal system that companies sometimes have to do it. And again, and a lot of times we see these kind of reports, and it sounds crazy. And even I think it sounds crazy. I forgot what it was, but it was just this like one giant company who basically sued a small company for infringing their name when the service is not like even like remotely connected, and everyone's kind of like up in arm, and they're like, well, hold on, like we don't really have a choice. Like that's how we have to defend our name. Otherwise, some other company can come along and actually do something more malicious, and now we really can't defend ourselves because we didn't defend ourselves early. So now we lose like some rights in defending ourselves now. I don't know why it's that way, but that is how the system works. So,
and that is at least my understanding as a layman. Again, neither Baku or I are
not
international
attorneys.
Copyright attorneys, but that is what our current understanding of international copyright law is at the time.
So let's add a little bit to this report because so we've talked about Kitsune's tweet. There's another person named Corey, the Millennium Man Corey, who's also on the team, who tweeted later on, who said, hey, sorry for the silence. Since the started, we wanted to keep things quiet, but in a community this tight-knit, speculation is going to get out of there. We've heard back, and NISA isn't willing to negotiate with us, hence what you were saying. They have clarified we have to take down all the sheets from 0 to Kuro. So they weren't going to take them down, and they were like, no, we're not taking it down until you are willing to talk to us. Well, they did. They're forcing it. You're not. So that's why they are absolutely taking it down. Here's my small take on it, right? Initially I was up in arm, right? Just like everybody else who heard the news, I'm just like, what? Why would you do that? And let me tell you, even now, I'm not exactly satisfied, but I'm at least a little less angry. So a lot of folks are comparing this to Crossbell. Well, how come you did this for Crossbell, but this Kuro game, all of a sudden you're like, all, strong army. How come you can't just work with them? Here's the difference. Crossbell is a really old game, relatively speaking, right? And
it was dead in the water.
It was dead in the water. So they're like, okay, well, what's the best way to move forward with this? Well, let's work with them and let's get that translation in, and let's actually get this released at all officially in the West, right? Kuro's different. Kuro's a new game series that is still being developed, and they would want to exercise this, publishing right, from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to want to
pretty
compromise.
clear they're coming west. Like, and I think they've even announced plans that they intend to bring all trails coming forward. So it's kind of like
correct.
At a certain point, like, yeah, it sucks because you have to wait longer. And I know a lot of Trails fans are really sore about having to wait extra time, but
Crossbell is different. Crossbell was, we're not sure if this is actually going to happen.
Yeah,
it's super
there was no
old.
inclination that it ever would happen.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there's a fan base, but you know, I get it, but we kind of live in a bubble of JRPG fans. Like, we all want to see the game, but that's within the bubble, right? Like, leave the bubble and all of a sudden Crossbell is like a nobody game, right? Relatively speaking to the rest of the world. But that's through the lens that they're looking at. It's like, okay, we're investing money. We want to hit a bigger market. We want to tackle people who may not even know this game, right? So, but can we do it? It's an old game. Why are we spending money to release an old game, right? Well, there's some assurance that goes with that. Again, Kudo is a different situation altogether. I know we want to try to compare it, but they're not quite the same in key ways. I think the other thing, and this is actually from Scott from RPGFan.com. So we talk about these things sometimes, and he actually brought up a good point about Falcom, which is Falcom does not allow for English translation as the script is written. So usually that's what happens with larger companies. Like, for example,
it happens in tandem.
Yeah, they happen in tandem. Like, as the story is being written, they are being translated basically right afterwards, right? So that's how you can get these international release. Falcom's different. Falcom will not allow translation happen until after their game is released.
And sometimes they don't even provide the actual like script. Like, you have to play the game and then figure it out yourself.
Yeah. Now, Falcom is changing that policy. They're changing it, and it's not just like the president say, yes, we're just going to do this. Like, they have to change the business processes.
Yeah,
it's a lot of things that they need to do. It's just not like a royal decree and shall it be done, right?
It's a procedural
It's a procedural thing. So we should expect games to come out quicker now that they're going to work in a new business process. But again, that's the reason why previous translation effort has been so different from what we should expect moving forward. The previous was, you're not seeing our game until we release it, and even then we won't give you the script, play the game and figure it out, which is a tremendous amount of work for any translator, right? Now is, let's try to start a new system where we can translate almost simultaneously as we write the thing, which speeds it up tremendously, as you can imagine. And that's something that Scott has brought to my attention, because I did not know that before. And also so that's something that I've learned. So I feel like my feeling now with Nipponichi right now is I feel like they're doing the right thing and protecting their rights. I just don't think the timing and method is
ideal.
Yeah. If I, personally, and again, there might still be things in legal terms that I'm not understanding in why they had to do it this way. But from my perspective, if they had to defend this, why not announce it and then cease and desist, right? Now you're justified. It's like, okay, announce it. Like, for example, the thing that we talk about showcase it, announce that there will be an official release, give a set date, and then go to them and say, hey, by the way, we have it all listed out and translated. Do you mind if you like not do this, right? Here's the letter. Take it down, because we already got this. Thank you. That would have been a lot more acceptable to me than to do this thing and then be like radio silent about their plans on what they would actually do with the games.
Yep.
So that's how I feel about it. You're within your rights to do it. There's no questioning this, legally speaking. But just because it's legal doesn't mean you're doing like a good PR move. And
sure.
This
is definitely a case of
legal team
making extra work for PR team to clean up.
PR's like, God, no, why would you do this? How are we gonna The PR team is probably busy doing the showcase, and they heard the news. They're like, "Oh, come on! We told you not to do this until we do our showcase. Why wouldn't you listen?"
They probably didn't even know about it, honestly, until we did. That's
they
my
read the
guess.
news. They're like, no, what's going on?
Legal does what legal does.
Legal does what legal does. Yeah. So,
All right.
yeah.
How about we move along to some comments from the chat here before we really wrap things up for the day. Let's take a look at some super chats. We have one here from Seikenso77 who says, "Wish Japanese Chrono Trigger wasn't September 15th. September is so full already. Hollow Cure, Splat 3, Dio Fueled, Kuro no Kiseki 2, Valkyrie Elysium, and October is Star Ocean." So yeah, that's a loaded September, especially in Japan. Here too, though.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, that could have been timed a little bit better.
Yeah, I don't know what Square Enix is thinking. I've said it a couple of times. I don't know what they're thinking. They're just like, here's just all these games that will eat into each other back to back in 2 months.
All right. We have also one here from, the name got cut off a little bit. Here, it's Kim. The Kim situation is...
Okay.
And I think that there's probably more to the name, but got cut off. Who says... Do you ever find it hard to go back to retro RPGs? Have there been any times when you've gone, this is too archaic? You know, I do actually find sometimes it's tough if I'm playing like a AAA modern release and then go straight back to like maybe not Super Nintendo, but like NES is tough. I find it's easier to jump back generationally, like in single increments, instead of like large increments, and maybe sometimes like 1 or 2 increments or generations. I find especially like I like working my way forward through games as I go generally, and that's how I avoid that a lot of times. But yeah, it's sometimes best to, you know, smaller jumps, I think, kind of prepare you for less archaic or more archaic experiences. So like instead of going just straight back to PlayStation 1, you know, maybe stop through like on PlayStation 2 first and play a game, and then PS1, and then maybe, you know, an NES or Super Nintendo. How about you, Baku?
See, doing it like that though, and that's what I do too. But I could see like doing it like that requires some discipline, right? Like for example, this is the best example: Persona.
Yeah,
I had no interest in Persona until Persona 5 came out.
Yeah,
right. So I got Persona 5 Royal. But then I thought to myself, and at that point, I have not played any Persona game. I thought to myself, I'm like, well, if I play this now, and people rave about P4G, I'm never gonna touch P4G, which I've just finished, and also P3 because people talk about P3.
It's
so
hard.
I'm like, okay,
it's hard to go back.
If I want to play P5, I have to play P3, then P4, then P5, and that takes discipline, because now I have to hold off on this shiny like new game that I have in my hand. And I have to play 2 games before I can play this. And the story is not even related. It's just because of this generation thing where I know I'm not going to want to go back and play P3 after witnessing all the, not even just graphics, but like the quality of life improvements, right? That the new series of games tend to implement, all the not bug fixes, but all the little fixes or things that are annoying. And it is evident for me that P3, and I played it and I hated it, and then P4 was just like better in every respect. Sorry, P3 fan, but that's the kind of improvements that I'm expecting, right? So you know, that's why I pulled it off. Same thing with I think the most jarring example for me personally was Yakuza. Yakuza was the most jarring example because, hear me out, I started with Yakuza 0 as the first game, right? And it's the first game chronologically speaking, right?
But not in order of release. Yeah,
but not in order of release. So then they released Yakuza Kiwami, which is the remake of the first game that happens chronologically after Yakuza 0 and also after in release order. So it made sense to play that as the next game.
Sure.
Then there's Kiwami 2. Still made sense. It's chronological and in release order. Then they released this thing called Yakuza 3 through 5 Remaster, which is not Kiwami, as in they didn't remake the game. It is still more or less like the PS3 version, just brought to a PS4. And the quality jumped from 0 to Kiwami to Kiwami 2, then drop all the way down to basically the third game in order to continue the story, just so you can play the sixth game, which is back to PS4.
Oh.
So for 3 games, you're just like, oh God, what happened? It's just the drop. But it's chronological. Like the story continues. And it was just like the most jarring thing I've ever done as a fan to try to play through the entire series. And I can't recommend that experience to anybody because it hurts so much. But there you go. That's what happens. Even with the planning, I didn't have a choice. I wasn't going to play 3, 4, 5 and then go back to 0 and then 1, 2, and then 6. It didn't make sense.
Somebody threw out a super sticker here. It's from Module Stell, and it's just
super sticker. What is that?
It's a super sticker. I don't know. It's a sticker of a little bird dancing around, I think. I can't see what it says. It says, "Oh, it's fist bump." It's a doing fist bumps. Oh, well, thank you so much for the fist bump there, Francisco.
Thank you.
or Module Cell, rather. And then we had another super chat here from Yum Yum Raisin, who says, Derek, I want to see all your guides in the back. All right. I don't have that many guides. I have a few.
We should make a video about it.
I don't think so. That wouldn't make for a very good video, I don't think. But
here's the guide number 1.
All right, here. Let's see. If I switch to here. All right. So here are some of my guides in the background. I got some Kingdom Hearts, some Blue Dragon, Resonance of Fate, Breath of Fire. Oh, that's a good one. That's Tales of Symphonia 2. Another Blue Dragon. I think this is the DS game, and this is the 360, and then Final Fantasy 8, Dragon Quest. I got, and some of them are
look at that Wild Arms. Look at you. Look at that Wild Arms.
Oh, you want to see that Wild Arms one?
It looks amazing.
It is pretty awesome. Let's see.
Ooh.
I can.
That looks cool.
Yeah, it is a Japanese art book.
Yeah.
So so all of the art is in Japanese, unfortunately. But yeah, it's got some really cool stuff
Japanese art.
Yeah.
I wish I could make art in American.
I wish I could understand it. But yeah,
I can. I'll translate it for you.
All right. Well, so I need to zoom back out here. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
Yeah, I have a few guides back there. I like collecting them. I barely ever use them though, especially now because the internet's easier to like searchable formats. But yeah. All right. So we have another super chat here from Khan Saad, who says, "Love your show. Favorite beverage while gaming?" How good is the game? How good is the game? What are we drinking?
How good is the game? Yeah. Am I angry? Did the game make me angry? I'm gonna drink alcohol if the game made me angry. Favorite beverage? Probably water, honestly. I hate to be
gross.
Yeah, I hate to be so plain Jane about it, but no, water, because it gets warm, man. I sweat. I gotta drink some water.
I got you. Yeah, it's a powerful computer you're streaming with, so I could see that.
Yeah, it gets hot in this room.
Well, generally speaking, I reach for Diet Dr. Pepper, Diet Mountain Dew. If it's a fancier occasion, I do also tend to like making myself a Diet Mountain Dew with a splash of some plantation rum, a couple ounces of that in there, and it kind of gives it a little bit of like a more tropical kind of pineapple-y kind of flavor. I like it a lot. It's very good.
Very nice.
I mean, but otherwise, sometimes just a whiskey on the rocks. But I mean, while I'm gaming, it depends on the game. Like if it's a really bad game, maybe just straight whiskey.
Same. I'm just gonna just take a shot real quick and just forget that this happened.
Straight from the bottle.
Are we allowed to show alcohol on here?
I mean, I think as long as we're not just like
I mean, I'm not drinking
slamming.
Yeah. No, here. Since you were talking about the plantation rum, here's the bottle of that.
Ooh.
Yeah, the XO plantation. I know what you're talking about, man. Those are good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. I like how I can just like bring out a bottle of liquor like right underneath my desk.
Got problems.
What am I drinking unless I'm gaming? Water, obviously. Look.
Yeah.
Forget that bottle. Just you didn't see anything.
So we had another super chat from Zema Duvant who says, did they make Tales mobile games? Did it died like they did make a Tales game and they died in like a year is what they said.
Yeah, so we actually had a similar discussion in our Discord. By the way, Derek and my Discord are in the description. Please come by and hang out. Yeah.
Yes.
So we did have this discussion in Discord where I was actually talking about the exact same thing, which was, hey, there's a Tales announcement. It might be a mobile game. And someone in my community is like, well, didn't they make a Tales game? They didn't say that it closed down or died, but it kind of got me thinking, right?
Yeah.
The way that we look at mobile games, we can't look at a mobile game like it's a regular game release. Mobile games, it's just like more or less a monetary generation tool. It's not supposed to live forever. If it does live forever, great. If it doesn't live forever, don't make another one.
It's a bit more of an ethereal experience.
It doesn't hurt them. And in fact, it is ethereal even for the player, because guess what? When it dies, what do you have to show for? Absolutely nothing. For a regular physical release or a regular game. Yeah, a little bit of debt. Look at a credit card bill. It's like, oh yeah, I remember spending this money. Oh, the days. What is it? There's this one big one that just got closed down recently. They Dragalia Lost, I think it was called. It's like one of the bigger titles from Japan that even had like a partnership with Nintendo. That died, right? So, and guess what? You get nothing. And that's why I keep telling people, like, gacha games, expect it to be just an experience. You're paying for the experience, nothing else. You'll not have anything tangible to walk away from.
I think mentally everybody understands and accepts that, except we also have a terrible concept of time. So when things eventually do close, we're like, wait, not yet, never.
Right. Yeah.
Like we know mentally it's going to end. We just, when it happens, it just feels too soon. And then there's sort of feelings like, oh, it should have gone on for at least another 10 years, or something like that. And then you feel like, oh, well, I should have gotten something for all my efforts. But
she's right.
Yeah.
Now to the comment, right, which is basically saying, hey, they made a game. It died last year, so and I apologize that I'm reading this message incorrectly, but I think what you're meaning to say is that it's probably not going to be the case. They just had one, it just died. So clearly,
if at first you don't
working.
succeed, try again, right?
Well, no, that's the thing. I don't even think it didn't succeed. How much money did they make out of it?
That's true.
Again, is it money generating?
Success does change. Like you might not sell 1 million units of a free game, but how
much money did you make?
If you drew in whales, that
yeah. Look, as long as I made more money by the time I closed the game than the cost of developing and running the game, it was a success, and I'm gonna make another one. And I'm gonna draw in the crowds again, make that money. As it dies off, I'll kill it and make another one. Like again, it is not the same measure of success as we see as like a regular game that gets released where it's like, oh, it didn't do well, they're probably not going to do another one. Did it really not do well though? So a lot less overhead costs. I tell you,
it's a good question. There is much larger complicated equations that go into these decisions.
Absolutely.
We have another super chat here from Duo Beard who says, here's a super chat just because I like you guys.
Thank you, Duo Beard, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, very much appreciated. All right. And I think that does do it for super chats for the evening. So guys, if you're new here and if you liked what you saw or heard on your various podcasting platforms of choice, we always appreciate a good thumbs up or 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you are. Always always very much appreciated. Helps us reach newer, greater audiences and further expand and maybe even get responses from companies when we send them random tweets on a Sunday.
Yeah, give. It's a shame Derek into playing games. That's always a great pastime.
Yeah. So, yeah, help us expand and do the liking thing is always great. Okay, we got another super chat actually before we close. Who says
hello?
It says, "Oh, Tales of Luminaria was incredible, but it died in 8 months. It had 21 characters, and each character had its own story. It had a big budget, an anime, but was too generous, so it died." And that's the other thing. Like I guess only the good ones die early.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for the super chat. But
could have just made a actual Tales game and.
Yeah. But like you said, we've heard from people though who only have the ability to play on mobile. So
that's true. Yes, we have talked about that. Or just make it so that it is
not a service.
I'm not against the mobile game.
I'm against games as a service in general.
Yeah, I'm a game. Yeah, the whole gotcha thing. If you could still sell a game that plays on mobile, but you purchase things that are through the premium shop, but not gotcha. I think the random element that you throw in, as soon as you throw that random element in, this is turned into gambling.
Yeah.
And anything before that is still, you're just buying a thing. You know exactly what you're getting. You know exactly how much it costs. There's no trickery. As soon as there are odds in, you may or may not get this, it's a gamble. Call it what it is, right?
Yep. Yum Yum Raisin actually just dropped us another message. He says, "I was bummed that the new Ys was a mobile game."
Ys 6, right? Ys 6.
Was it?
Is it a mobile game or is it an online game?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I know there's like an Ys 6. I know there's an Ys 6 like mobile. No, that's not a mobile online, but I don't know if it was mobile or not.
This one's not a super chat, but German Fabian says, "And gambling is fun." I do get sucked into gambling in various Dragon Quest games and other things where it doesn't affect my actual bank account. I think that's the trick. You got to find the games that allow you to gamble for free.
Yeah, I think Ys 6 mobile. Yeah, Ys 6 mobile. Art of Nepestem on mobile. I don't know how the heck.
So Nepestem is not only on mobile though. It's on other platforms.
No, that there's an actual like game for this too. But also I knew that they were doing some kind of an online rendition for it. I just didn't. They stopped me at online. I saw online and I just wrote it off. I'm like, I already played this game. What do I need this for? Yeah.
All right. Well, that about does it for the night, guys. Have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.